The vaccine commitment and the global economic recovery. Now, President Ramaphosa commented on Africa's challenges on manufacturing vaccines on the continent as a key priority. Joining us to discuss what has been moving the markets is Jacobus Brink, Head of Investments at Novara Investment Solutions. Thank you so much for your time, Jacobus. Of course, I mentioned the G7 meeting that took place this past weekend with our own president briefing the world leaders there. Is there anything that came out of that meeting that could move markets?
Hi, good morning. Thanks again for having me. No, I think, I don't think there was too much surprise coming out of that meeting. Obviously, mostly we expected sort of to see a lot of talk around, assisting poorer nations with the vaccine rollout, and they obviously did commit to that. Listening to the chief of the World Health Organization afterwards said, that's obviously great for the 1 billion doses that they are willing to roll out for countries, but if we want to get 70% of the world population vaccinated by 2022, we'll need closer to 11 billion. So obviously, that was a big focus, but, I think more will definitely need to be done to actually try and get to a place where we sort of reach global herd immunity. I think other than that, pretty much expected everything that the finance minister recently talked about, with regards to taxing of multinationals to get everyone sort of on a same level. And other than that, great to see that they were also addressing climate change. I think obviously on that front, Donald Trump did make things a bit awkward over the past few years. So it's good to see that we've got everyone back on the same page with regards to climate change.
Talking about that 1 billion vaccines commitment coming out there from world leaders, some are even saying that it might be too little too late. But just looking at the global markets, we have seen the markets, or our own markets, quite subdued today. Of course, markets are waiting for that Federal Reserve meeting taking place on Wednesday. Of course, we do know that they have been saying that inflation is transitory, so they won't be looking to hike rates anytime soon. But I mean, what kind of language can we expect out of that meeting, considering that in recent weeks we have been having officials out of the Fed talking about tapering?
Yeah, we've sort of always, at least for the past while, held the opinion that, a lot needs to happen for the Fed to actually start tapering. Looking at the results a little bit more in depth, if you look at the core CPI numbers, which obviously excludes food and energy factors, it was the highest in 3 decades, so things like that obviously would make your sort of ears perk up. But I think what's very important in those numbers, some of the largest contributors to that very high CPI reading was second-hand car sales. That is purely because of supply constraints, so it's not and because of that, we see this as definitely more transitory than anything else. So, I think, obviously there has been a lot of noises, as you mentioned, from Fed officials recently, but we do expect that we can pretty much see more of the same coming out on Wednesday when Chairman Powell speaks.
Just looking at our own rand, we have seen it extending losses that we saw last Friday. But I mean, it's pretty interesting because we did have all these positive news coming out of South Africa last week. We had better than expected Q1 GDP results. We had the president lifting the threshold for electricity self-generation for companies. We also had SAA giving up its majority, the government giving up its majority stake in SAA. Does this mean that all this positive sentiment is already in the price when you look at the rand?
Yeah, no, I mean, we were of the opinion that there was a lot of good news priced into the rand over the past while, especially after we broke that 14 handle. So, I think definitely a lot of good news priced in, and obviously there was a lot of great things that came out over the past few days. But the rand obviously more actually just gaining back those losses than really gaining massively. So yeah, I think there was a lot of positive sentiment driving the rand, and we're sort of back to the sort of more fair value levels now.
Of course, we do know that about 4 provinces are now in the third wave in COVID-19. Not sure if nationally it has been declared that we are in the third wave. But do you see the third wave affecting markets in any way, especially now with the pullout of those 2 million doses of the J&J vaccine, which is a really important one because it is one jab? Do we see the third wave affecting markets?
Yeah, obviously the third wave, it might dampen sentiment a little bit, but not really. I think people have sort of adjusted to this new environment of living in, where we need to be safe, you need to social distance. Most of the people are still working from home. So other than a sentiment thing, I don't think so. It does obviously help that we have started vaccination programs, etc. The Johnson and Johnson, the recall is obviously a massive blow to that. But I think other than sort of sentiment, we are on the right track, I think. And these obviously wouldn't have an immediate impact on markets.
We saw business confidence in the building sector rising, really. But I mean, are we seeing any headwinds going forward? Any risks that might dampen confidence in the construction sector?
Yeah, I think the construction sector, obviously the numbers that we saw coming out in the second quarter is great. We haven't seen a move like that, in quite some time. And we aren't of the opinion that we are completely out of the woods yet. It's great to see numbers jumping from 27. I think the previous reading was to 39, which is obviously massive. But there could definitely be some headwinds. I mean, we aren't through this thing yet. There's still definitely some bad news that can come out and hamper the industry. So yeah, it remains to be seen. We are starting to get cautiously optimistic on the sector, but a lot can still happen there.
Company news now. Alexander Forbes coming out with the year-end results, reporting headline earnings growth of 4% year-on-year. Also, operating income remaining flat, considering the challenges that the insurance industry has faced due to COVID-19. Looking at these results coming out of Alexander Forbes, did they come out as expected?
Yeah, obviously over the past few months, there was a bit of noise around Alexander Forbes, fines that they had to pay, etc. So I think the market was sort of anything that was just, basically in line with what was expected were going to be received as good news. So yeah, the market seems to like it. It was up quite a bit this morning. It pulled back slightly. But yeah, obviously, the fact that they also mentioned the complete sort of exit from the insurance industry with the sale to Sanlam of its life insurance business, and headline earnings per share, in a tough environment, up 4%. So nothing too out of the ordinary there. But like I said, with all of the negative noise that there was around the company over the past few months, I think the market took anything that sort of that looked slightly positive as a very, very positive for the share.
All right, well, thank you very much.